Things still aren't going exactly very well at Grimsby. Since the last episode, we've won as many games as we've lost, with a draw against Morecambe in there as well. There's some embarrassing losses, including a 4-0 loss against Mansfield, and more recently a 2-0 loss against Rotherham. But all is not lost, with the board expecting us to finish in a top half of the table. We are currently 8th and only 3 points outside of the playoffs. Today we play both Plymouth and Bradford City in the league, and with a change in formation to a 4-2-4 wide, we're hoping that we can go and get a couple of good results. Hello and welcome back to Club 2 Part 3 of our Zero to Hero series, where we are playing through with Grimsby Town. This is going to be our lineup for our match against Plymouth, and we've just jumped straight here, so we can jump straight into the match. Really, if you do enjoy today's episode, please do drop a like down below. Always forget to ask, so doing it early today. We do have pretty much the same problems that we were facing at the start of our journey with Grimsby, which is lots and lots of tired players. The fixture congestion is absolutely ruining us, so we're not even playing really a first choice 11 against Plymouth. We've got Hilton in goal, Bowler, Newell, Gordon and Daly Campbell as our back four today. Out injured, we've got Okadina is out injured, and then we've also got somebody else. Oh yeah, Callum Baye is also out injured for another 4 weeks. So two of our main first choice centre backs both injured, not incredibly helpful. Gordon starts but isn't really fully fit as well, but I think I prefer playing him over Luke Chambers because Luke Chambers isn't very good. In midfield, it's Camwa and Wilcox, again, just due to people being tired. Basia starts over on the left-hand side, Maguire Drew over on the right, and then Griever. And Chukwuemeka up front. No idea if that's how you're saying his name, but that's how we're saying it. Or we just continue calling him Caleb. Potentially, we just continue calling him Caleb, and maybe that would be the best solution. Plymouth Argyle, obviously a team, I believe, in 11th currently. They did get relegated from the league above last season. If you remember, when we were at Taunton Town, we did actually have a look at maybe going over to Plymouth as they were about to get relegated, because I think they'd be a team that we'd be able to take straight back up into the Championship. But there they are in 11th on 55 points. We are obviously above them, but probably not in very good form. We have won a couple of games recently, but definitely not enough to be considered in good form. And we're playing in that salmon kit again. It's kind of growing on me. It's so different to anything else that anyone else has. So I guess that's nice that we stand out a little bit. Argyle instantly from kickoff here, though, coming on the attack, showing that they want this match possibly more than we do. I feel like we need to start, playing some football. That's what we need to start doing as a football club. I think our course of action from here to the end of the season now, which isn't miles away, is to start playing some football. Griever on the ball here, playing it to Chukwuemeka, Wilcox now. Starting a rare game. It's his opportunity to show that he should be in the side, and he's definitely going to be one for the future that we should keep an eye on. He's got the potential to potentially break into this side. Instead, though, what we are going to see at the end of that is a goal for Murray and a 1-0 lead for Plymouth, which neither of those things fill me with a massive amount of joy. I don't like this. Freeman there, just playing that through to Murray. Neither of our defenders really watching what's going on. Don't have the pace to catch up with him. And Hilton, bless him, doing his best. But realistically, one-on-one with another player was always going to lose that battle. Wilcox now, once again. He has the opportunity to show us, as I mentioned, that he should be in the side. Maguire Drew through on goal here. Has a shot. I believe that was blocked by the Plymouth defender and falls straight into their goalkeeper's hands. I'm a little disappointed as well with new signing Griever. He hasn't really done a lot. He's been pretty poor, to be honest. We've actually been playing with Chukwuemeka and our other striker, whose name I cannot remember the name of, Baker Richardson, has been our front two, because those two seem to actually connect. And Baker Richardson, despite my assistant manager and my coaching staff telling me he is only National League standard, is still the one scoring the most goals. Him and Max Beck, who is old and only National League, maybe even North-South for Max Beck standard. But they're the guys putting the goals in, so they're being the guys playing. Griever, on the other hand, should be good enough for this league and should be a player that can improve in the future and we could take into the championship, but instead isn't really doing a lot. Maguire drew here into Chukwuemeka, and that man Caleb getting his 13th goal of the season. And this is why we've been playing him over Griever. Griever obviously today starting alongside him because Baker Richardson is looking a little bit tired, but this is the man that's been scoring a lot of the goals in recent games. Chukwuemeka there, and he does absolutely power them into the net. If he gets that cross into his feet like that one there, he absolutely smashes them into the net. We're getting a lot of highlights in this match. There's only 15 minutes gone. That's why I was just quickly looking, 'cause as I mentioned before, I play on extended highlights because I'm a filthy casual, but I normally put the YouTube highlights on key because I just think it goes a little bit quicker and we don't end up with a hyper long episode that maybe you guys don't want to see. But all of this looks all right. I mean, we could probably up that a little bit, but we just seem to be getting a huge amount of highlights. We also seem to be getting quite a lot of yellow cards, and I probably need to keep an eye on that because we have had some red cards in recent matches. The one against Bradford that I highlighted, no it wasn't, Mansfield. Sorry, that I highlighted in the intro to this where we lost 4-0. We weren't very good anyway, but then we also had Daley Campbell go and get a straight red after coming on as a substitute, which left us a little bit short. Chukwuemeka through on goal again here, and I think that one was actually saved. I believe that was on target. It is going out for a corner, which again, we need to make the most of set pieces. I still don't believe we've actually scored one this season yet. Maybe we need to change how we're doing them because, I mean, we don't have anyone that's very good at taking corners, which doesn't help matters. But the board and the supporters want us to make the most of set pieces. We are trying, but we just don't seem to be getting any luck at them at the moment. Luckily, Plymouth Argyle aren't scoring theirs either. Chukwuemeka there just clearing the ball as far as Jones. So Argyle's still going to be able to come back on the attack. We do need to press a little bit and regain this pretty swiftly, I would say. We have blocked the cross in, but Argyle's still on the ball and Hilton coming out to claim that one, as you would expect a goalkeeper of his calibre to do. We are just playing out from the back here, which makes me slightly nervous, but we'll allow it, and then we just pump a big long ball forward and lose possession anyway. That one, this is slightly chaotic. I have seen other YouTubers playing FM as well, talking about the chaos factor, as we call it, in this year's instalment of FM, and you definitely see it in highlights like that, where the board is just all over the place, and it is definitely chaotic. Chukwuemeka trying to get on the end of this, has nodded it across, looking for Griever, but it is cleared by Argyle, but only as far as our players, much the same as it just happened the other end. And we can try and build something from here. Kamwa into Basir. Basir, can he get on the end of it and get a cross in? He's kind of been held up there by the Argyle defenders. Wilcox showing, as I mentioned, that he could be the man. He could be our main central midfielder for the future. And he's just scored his first ever Grimsby Town goal, just on the stroke of half time as well. Two of our young lads here, one's for the future, Basir and Wilcox, are the couple of players linking up for this one. It's a great strike by Wilcox. It puts us 2-1 up on the stroke of half time. And we are, like I mentioned, playing with a very rotated side here as well. So I am very, very happy with that performance in the first half. It's been a long performance. I'll have obviously edited little bits for this out because I can't talk properly in intros, but on my recording software, we've been going for 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So we've probably going for at least 8 minutes in video time. Ball across there as well. I thought we were going to get a third. Oh, that was some strike there from range. It has gone out for a corner. I'm just looking down at the field as well because the likes of Kamwa and Gordon are looking very, very tired. Another corner, another wasted set piece, really. It's gone as far as Endicott, and Argyle now looking for the counter here. Freeman taking it down that side, back into Endicott. Daley Campbell managing to step back there and sweep that one up. And somehow all of that has resulted in an Argyle corner for the next highlight. Swung in, and they have managed to score theirs. They're making the most of their set pieces, and it's back to 2-2. Very, very frustrating. I would quite like to go and win a game at some point, please, Grimsby Town. Could we do that? How are Grimsby doing in real life? I haven't actually looked much since I took over at this club in-game. So I don't really know exactly how they're doing. Once again, my assistant manager is telling us to play for set pieces. And I don't really understand why. Because it would, I agree, mean that we were sort of fitting in with what the club want us to do. But equally, we're not scoring any set pieces. We're scoring from open play. So why would we then go and try and play for set pieces in this match in order to get ourselves a win if we don't ever score any set pieces? It seems like a very backwards mentality for me. So I'm just going to ignore him. Wilcox and Camwar there trying to stop the Plymouth Argyle attack. They've not quite managed it, but luckily their shot is drawn wide on this occasion and Hilton doesn't need to make the save. I've just realised that Alan Murray for Plymouth has scored both goals. We should probably keep an eye on him because likely it is he's going to try and get his hat-trick, and instead it's Jordan Houghton that's actually scored that one off of a free kick. It's a lovely free kick. I can't complain too much about that, but I am going to go attacking and encourage the team as we head into the 70th minute after this highlight. Houghton there, that's a lovely free kick. I mean, Hilton didn't know a huge amount about that until very, very late. Very reminiscent of Jordan Pickford against France. Again, is it too soon? Also, it's Monday. Who won the World Cup? Let me know in the comments down below. I will probably know, but right in this second, it's Saturday, so it hasn't happened yet. We do need to make a couple more substitutions as well. Maguire Giroud is A, tired, and B, on a yellow card, so he's going to come off and Werner's going to come on that side. And as we need a goal, and Aston Grievers on a 6.1, Baker Richardson is going to come on as well for the end of this tie as we go attacking and we try and get something out in these last 5-10 minutes or so. Very annoying that we've looked, I'd say, relatively decent early on in this tie, and instead it's going to be another loss for Grimsby Town. We are in some horrific form at this point. Again, no, as our assistant manager said, we're basically underdog in every match we're going into. But now, instead of being just outside those playoff positions, we are down in 10th place. I say that, we are still only 3 points outside those playoff positions, and we do have a game in hand on Bristol City. So it's probably not as bad as it seems. But nonetheless, we need to turn around this form very, very quickly if we're going to break into those playoff positions, which we are going to try and do against Bradford City, who are 21st in the league. So you'd think that's got to be a comfortable win for us. In between those matches, though, we have made a sell, which is Ivan Kahore, I believe, at Grimsby in real life. He's a youth player. He's been over on loan at Peterborough Sports last season, and at the start of this season, on loan at Buxton. He hasn't done bad at either of them, but having a look at his report, he was never going to be good enough for this team. And getting rid of him does mean as well, now, if we have a look here, we've got £150 back in the wage budget. We are back under our wage budget, which is it's good. It's good. We're having a look at projection now. I don't know what's happened, because for those of you who watched the first episode of Grimsby Town, we had a look at this and we were projecting to make a profit every season. Now we're projected to be 1.36 million in the negative equity side of things by the end of our third season in charge. And I don't really know what's changed, apart from we are spending more on wages now. But we are also under our wage budget. And we actually, if anything, lowered the wage budget that we were given in order to give us transfer budget. So who knows exactly what's happened there. All we've got to do, though, is just stay under the wage budget and it will all be fine. Other than that, I don't feel like the financial problems at the club necessarily are our problem. This is going to be our lineup today for that match against Bradford City. We've got Hilton in goal, Glennon Bola, Okadina and Daly Campbell as our back four. Okadina not quite fully fit, but fit enough to start the match. We then got Hunt and Clifton in midfield, Holland on the left, Maguire Giroud on the right, and Baker Richardson accompanying Chukwuemeka up front today. And hopefully we can see what I mentioned in the first match, which is those two linking up and actually scoring some goals, which is, I feel like, something we are massively missing in this side at Grimsby. We are all right defensively, if not fantastic, and we can score goals. What we don't do is defensively, we're not very consistent, and up front, we're not very consistent either. Consistency is the issue at Grimsby, I feel, not helped by the fact that this is the third different formation I've used. They've got Jonathan Lecco at Bradford City. I might have a quick look at him, bringing in some external knowledge that I probably shouldn't be doing because of the way I like to play this. But Jonathan Lecco, where was he before that I would have used him? West Brom, I think I would have used him before. Potentially in the Birmingham rebuild that I did last year on FM22 as well. Might have been there, but I do remember him being quite a good player. So we'll just give Jonathan Lecco a little scout. It's not completely breaking the realism rules of the game because obviously we're aware of him. We're playing against him today when we're facing Bradford City. I feel like we can get away with that. What we don't think we can get away with for much longer is keep losing games. You can see again, though, we're definitely in control of this tie, both in possession and in terms of shots and all of the other statistics as well. And yet, once again, the first highlight is going to be for Bradford City swinging a free kick there that they do manage to get ahead to. Luckily not on target. It looks like a very, very dull first half that isn't really doing much to help us here. We're going to get to half time with just that one highlight from the match so far. I feel like we need to encourage the team a little bit and also tell them to go out there and score a goal. What you essentially want to do, gentlemen, is aim for this thing here in between all of this structural posts here. If you get the ball in there, then we'll win the match. Also, it involves not letting the other team do that. I feel like this is basic stuff, but it doesn't seem to be things that we actually know how to do here at Grimsby Town. Played that one all the way back to Hilton. We are going to try and build an attack here, Clifton now. Over to Holland, looking for Chukwuemeka, who doesn't get the ball, but then does 2-foot a defender trying to regain possession, which I guess is showing some commitment at least. Maguire-Drew now over on the right-hand side, back to Daly Campbell, into Baker Richardson, who has lost his defender and has managed to put the ball in the back of the net. See, all of those instructions we were doing at the start of this highlight, telling them where the ball was, that's why we do them, because Baker Richardson heard us shouting on the touchline and has realised what he's meant to do in order to fulfil what we expect of him when we're playing him, and that is put the ball in the back of the net, which he's done very, very well there, managing to skip past his defender, kind of, and at least beat the goalkeeper. Beautiful, lovely stuff. We are still outside of the playoff positions here, but again, we do still have a game in hand upon the teams that are in the bottom part of those playoff positions. Maguire-Drew has just scored a fantastic free kick as well to put us 2-0 up. I wasn't even talking about that one because I didn't think there was a lot of point, because although, as I keep mentioning, we're meant to make the most of set pieces, I think that's the first one that we've actually scored. Either via a header from a corner or anything. I think that's the first set piece that's had any sort of impact at all. Bradford City are now just relaunching us there with a free kick, but we've regained possession very, very quickly. Baker Richardson here is very deep. He is playing on the right as he would be as the pressing forward, but he seems very, very deep there. I'm not complaining, because if we regain possession through him being deep and pressuring the midfield players, then I'm all for it. It just seems like slightly bizarre positioning. There is another highlight here for us with a corner from Maguire-Drew looking for Holland, trying to score our second set piece of the game. Can you imagine that we're meant to make the most of set pieces and we suddenly just start scoring them? That would be fantastic. It's not going to happen though, is it? We just don't seem to be able to score set pieces, and it's really bothering me because it seems like an easy way to get some points on the board. There is a cross there to Baker Richardson, not managing to keep his header down though, and it sails over the crossbar. Right, time, I think, to start making some changes though. The first one, Chukwuemeka could come off. Let's give Aston Griever another go up front. Maybe today, when we seem to be in control of a match, he can actually go and score a goal. That would be good. Clifton playing as the Mazzala there, not looking fantastic. Max Wilcock can come on for him. He did well in the last game. Let's see if he can do it twice in a row. And Maguire-Drew, who has scored, can come off, and Werner can come on as well. We probably still need to make a couple of changes. I just don't want to make more than 3 all at one go and completely, you know, screw with the players' heads who won't know who they're going to be passing to. Is that guy play for us? I think he does. There's a lot of new players on this pitch, boss. The fact that we're in a different coloured strip, that won't matter. Werner here, getting the ball on the edge of the area, pass it out to Wilcock, who does have a shot from range. Holland has a second shot from range from the edge of the box and does actually score his 5th goal of the season for Holland. He gives us a lovely little cartwheel on the edge of the touchline. and we're 3-0 up. All of a sudden, we look in very good form again. As I mentioned, consistency is the problem. Werner there, first time shot, beating the goalkeeper pretty easily. You love to see that. We're going to make our other couple of substitutions here, I think, as well. Glennon's tired. Nathan Newell can come on for him, and we need to make another one. Who do we bring on? That's a very good question. I think we focus on the defence first. So Bowler can come. No, he can't. Daly Campbell can come off. That Chris Cogley can come on at the right back position, and they can just play out our last 15 minutes or so of this tie. If we can go and get another goal, I'm all for it. But I think today, job done. As you can see, though, the fitness levels in this team are not fantastic. Alex Hunt on the field, really, really tired. Bowler on the field, really, really tired. And I think maybe the fact they've been playing a lot of games doesn't help, especially because we are rotating. But as we saw against Plymouth, when we do rotate, that's not exactly ideal either, because we end up with a lot of players on the pitch who really can't play at this level. It's definitely going to be a long summer. That will come in a couple of episodes' time, I think. Aston Griever has managed to score a goal. I know it says this is his 23rd goal of the season. He obviously hasn't scored all of those for us. He was on loan before we mentioned at Altrincham, I think, down in the same league as Taunton. Most of those goals have come from there. But he is now, I don't think he would have converted that a couple of games ago. So maybe he's coming into some sort of form. Maybe if we can just bring him off the bench for a couple of games when other teams are tiring, and he can grab himself a couple of goals that way, then when we bring him back into the first team as a starting part of the 11, then maybe he'll be in better form and a little bit more confident. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I'm not really sure what it is that's holding him back. We've had a couple of discussions with him off camera and told him we're expecting a little bit more from him. Otherwise, he's not going to be in the starting 11. He didn't listen. He didn't go and score any goals, so he wasn't part of the starting 11. Maybe dropping him has helped. Maybe he's listened to us. I'd like to think when we pulled him in our office this morning and went, "You're not part of the starting 11 today, because we're going to put two strikers on the field who are likely to grab us a goal, and you are not one of them." Maybe that put a bit of a rocket up his behind, and he suddenly realised that he needs to start scoring goals. Werner there, regaining possession really nicely. Okadina now over to Baker Richardson. We're just kind of holding up and playing around with the ball here. Not really looking to attack too much when we're 4-0 up with only 5 or so minutes to go. Big ball forward there. Werner might get on the end of it. Werner hasn't got on the end of it, but he's done enough. And once again, it's a squared ball from Werner into Griever. And Griever scoring his second of the game. I do think pulling him in the office this morning actually made him listen. Can he get a hat-trick before the end of the game of just squared ball tap-ins from Steven Werner? I mean, Werner doing really well there. The control and the first touch from the Bradford defender, definitely allowing to play Werner in. It was a very, very suspicious-looking first touch there from Bradford. But we are going to take full advantage of that. And you think a 5-0 win, maybe, boost the confidence of the lads on the field for the matches ahead. Holland now, can he square it to Griever? Wilcox with a shot from range. He hasn't managed to score that one. I think Max Wilcox, though, could end up being quite a good player by the looks of it. From what I've seen of him so far, and we know star ratings, not everything. We've seen that with a few players so far in this series. Max Wilcox could end up being an important part of this side in the years to come, the seasons ahead of us. Holland playing in Griever there. Griever not managing to keep hold of the ball and is tackled relatively easily. And now Bradford going to look for a consolation goal potentially. I don't think we're too worried about this. I don't think they're going to get a comeback in the 30 seconds or so left to play, although we would like a clean sheet, lads. If you can actually get a clean sheet, you get your clean sheet bonuses. Otherwise, you're going to be out of pocket. So all you need to do, not concede for the next 5 or 6 seconds of play that are left. Throw in there from Bradford City, and you'd think, blow your whistle, referee. Surely he has blown his whistle. It is a 5-0 win against Bradford. I didn't see that coming. I'm not going to lie. That's a bit of an excessive scoreline, given how we've been playing. We're still in 7th. Well, I mean, we've gone up from 10th to 7th. We are 2 points outside of the playoff positions, behind Bolton, with a game in hand. So we could definitely sneak back into them. Interestingly enough as well, in tomorrow's episode, we are going to be playing the last 2 games of the season, and one of those is Bolton. The other one will be Salford. So we're going to play through the remaining 4 games before we hit that end of the season. Hopefully, it means we're getting into the playoffs. Maybe. Bristol City have just sacked their manager as well, which is interesting. We could definitely have done a bit of a southern tour with Plymouth Argyle, Bristol City, all these teams sacking a manager. Maybe it's something we should have been doing. Either way, though, we're in a little bit of better form at the end of that episode. After 2 losses on the trot, a 5-0 win against Bradford City suits us really, really well. Hopefully we continue that good form heading into the last 2 games of the season, and then we can do the playoffs this week. That would be lovely, getting back-to-back promotions with a second club in this series. If you have enjoyed today's episode though, please do drop a like down below, hit the subscribe button, and thank you very much for watching.